well. I wanted to make a video on one of the biggest pitfalls that I see people come across and I've experienced myself on your Turo journey, especially for those of you who are thinking about just getting started. You really want to figure out what you should be prepared for. That's what I'm going to talk to you about in this video. So right now, the most common ways that I'm seeing people get cars for the Turo platform is either they're leasing it, which is my favorite, they're financing, or they're listing a car that they might already own, right? So in any of these cases, you have some sort of financial liability to make that monthly payment and to maintain insurance on that car. So if you have that liability, you are carrying a certain level of risk. Now, of course, just by the very nature of being in the Turo business, you can come across instances and issues where your car can go down for a number of reasons. You can run into issues where the car gets into an accident, maybe it gets totaled, which is very rare, maybe it has some manufacturing defect, maybe it has a safety recall. If you have a certain type of safety recall, Turo will delist your car off the platform until that issue is taken care of, because they can't have unsafe cars on the road by law. So many things that can happen that you can't exactly account for, right? So you need to make sure that you maintain some sort of a safety net so that you don't end up finding yourself in a situation to where you have a financial liability that you cannot maintain. In early 2020, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea, with all the cars that I've had, my claims rate was right around 3%. So 3% of all my trips, which is in the thousands, would run into some sort of claims issue. Now that includes everything, right? So it could be something really minor like curb rash on a rim, which obviously is not going to take your car down for a couple of days or a month or anything like that. But then there are times where you can come across instances where your car gets involved in a really bad accident and a repair can take a month and a half. I've had instances like that. And I've also had instances, probably the one that was the worst was not even Turo related. It was a manufacturing defect on my Vanderhall Venice, which was a huge pain. The company wasn't very good about taking care of it, even though it was under warranty. The dealership didn't really know how to deal with it. I mean, it was just a lot of issues that stacked up. And with that issue, it ended up taking my Vanderhall down for 3 months. And then there was another time where it was down for 2 months. I mean, collectively, that car has had so many issues, non-Turo related, that it's been down, I think, for 8 months in total, which is really crazy. So what do you do if you find yourself in a situation to where that happens to one of your cars, whether it's Turo related or not Turo related? How do you take care of that expense? So before you get into a car or before you list your car on the platform, the piece of advice that I would give you is to maintain a safety net of at least 3 to 4 months worth of your car payment and insurance and savings, because you don't want to find yourself in that situation, and on top of, you know, having to deal with the actual issue of the car, you don't want to be stressed out about how you're going to cover your liability on that. That's just dumb. Why do that if you can be prepared for that? Now, in a best case scenario, if you can, I would say try to maintain 6 months worth of a safety net. And anyways, what do you have to lose? Because then you're just building cash reserves for yourself. Let's say you get, 2-3 years into Turo, everything's going well, and you see that on average that, hey, you know what, if I have 3 months worth of car payments and insurance in the bank, I'm good. Well, you can always take the rest of that money and you can invest it, put it into something that compounds, and have that be another way to earn money, or have your money make money for you in the same way that your rentals do. So this is just a major pitfall that not enough people talk about. It's not talked about enough in the Turo community, in the Turo world. It's not advised on, and people don't educate the rest of the community on this. And I have known people who have had cars that have been, for example, totaled, right? And they didn't follow the check-in process in the way that they were supposed to. They didn't follow the system that Turo has created. And so what happened? Their claims were denied, right? And when that claim is denied and you don't know if your personal insurance is going to cover it, because that's a real gray area, you could get stuck with that liability. And I think that person that I knew is probably like a $30,000 car. So imagine getting stuck with that bill and you're not even able to rent your car out. You're not able to have that make money. And now you just have this debt. So why put yourself in a position to where you could end up with that type of liability? It just doesn't make any sense. So going into it, for me personally, I'm a planner, right? I like to get into situations. I like risk and I'm good at taking risks, but even with taking risk, you should have a plan of, hey, if X, Y, and Z goes wrong, this is what I'm going to do to protect myself and my financial situation, right? Because just think about what type of a domino effect something like that can have. You get a car, something happens, it's down for 2 to 3 months, even though that is incredibly rare, and you can't afford the payment. Next thing you know, you become delinquent on it. What if your car gets repossessed? It ends up messing up your credit. You still owe that bill. I mean, it's just like a really slippery slope that you don't want to go down, especially if you can prepare to not have to do that. So that's just my little advice in terms of that. There are so many of you guys that are thinking about coming on the platform right now, which is amazing. And I think it's definitely a great time to do it, but just plan for it, because there is that risky side to this business, but there's a solution to it too. So just have that solution in place. And plus, it's just a smart thing to do, right? So protect yourself, protect your downside, and really leverage your positioning when coming into the market, you know? So it's just gonna give you that good backup plan. It's gonna give you really that confidence of getting in the market too. And you'll be in a good position. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Something to really, really think about. I would honestly say, if you're not in the position to where you can have that safety net, don't get involved in the marketplace. Don't do it, because you never know, especially given what's going on in our world and in the current events, which way a market can swing. It's still a market at the end of the day, right? No matter what. It could be a Turo market, Amazon market, stock market. Markets move in different directions and they're influenced by different things. So you never know, you can come into a marketplace and maybe for the first month everything is great, and then maybe something crazy happens in the world and it's like, oh my gosh, all business is dead. So how do you deal with that, right? We just lived through that, so we know that this is something that can absolutely happen. So just think about that when getting into it. This is also why when I get into cars, if I lease cars, I don't go into cars with any down payment. Why would I give my money to a dealership, not even to the bank? I'm giving that money to the dealership. That's where my down payment is going. I'd rather hang on to that money and use that as a safety net instead. It just makes so much more sense. So if you are going to get into a car, don't put money down. And that's a whole nother topic that I'll get into. All right, you guys, so I just want to share that. That's what was on my mind today. Hope you guys are all having a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Send me all of your questions about getting involved in the Turo marketplace. And as promised, I will continue creating a series of videos just sharing my story, my experience, and all the things that you should prepare yourself for, all the do's and don'ts of the Turo marketplace. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Take care and have an amazing week ahead. Bye, guys.